Hey, welcome to my daily update. I am lately testing out different concepts for this daily chat and also testing out different filters. So I'm sorry, somebody pointed out that I was like using the sunglasses filter when I was talking about like the shooting in Las Vegas, and it might be disrespectful or something, but actually I think the filter I was looking for was this kind of blur effect one. It just makes the camera quality look better. So yeah, I also just realized I should be doing these updates later in the day because I have some more concept what I should be talking about. Because today I had time to think about this Google launch, which was really interesting. A lot of the tech that they announced was, like at least noteworthy for their competition with Apple. Apple just had an event where they announced, two new types of iPhone, and it's a big like arms race for tech right now. And I've been thinking about it because some of my hardware is getting pretty old, and I kind of need to upgrade like at least a laptop or maybe get a tablet and not a laptop for the first time. And that's like a big kind of big switch for me. So I've been paying attention to what these tech companies are doing. And I've always been a huge fan of Apple because, it's like kind of just, it was the underdog for a long time. And I just had Apple since I was really young, like with one of the first Apple desktop computers, like the Apple II. And so that was just a way to be excited about certain Apple technology since it was first coming out, and since it was first kind of doing things differently, as far as just testing out a lot of new ideas. It's really interesting how they revolutionized the film industry and independent filmmaking. It's with the iMac, and there's just a lot of innovation that happens through Apple. So, but I'm also a big fan of Google, so it's a big challenge for me to choose or to know what going forward I should be using. And I think that there's there's trade-offs for both types. You've got Apple is really good functionality for kind of current uses, and I feel like Google is more designed with the cloud and sort of the future, the ability to do things in kind of a new way and a new interface. So I think that, yeah, it's hard to think about being 100% Android because I'm just a lot more familiar with Apple. But it seems like, if it can be costing less for Android, I still want to be seeing what Google is coming out with, because I think that race, that competition will make them update whatever we need to have a better experience on Google and eventually. So, I've always been a fan of Apple, but I just kind of am seeing that Google is taking them on, and I think that it's going to take more time still, but I think it's really getting close that the kind of hardware or the type of mobile experience can just flow more than Apple does, because Apple does have a lot of problems with this iCloud and how it hooks up to your computer. So it's just kind of, it's hard to say. And at the moment, I kind of, my iPhone stopped working. I had an iPhone 6 for the past couple of years, and I got like a cheap Chinese Android phone. And so that's another problem, is that I have sort of a negative view of Android from seeing it from Asia, where it's kind of like just really basic, really simplified, which is something I've always liked about it, because it's kind of too complicated, too luxury style for Apple. So in Asia and in like a developing country setting, definitely Android is, that's also why I've always sort of seen that in the long game, it's kind of going to be more of a Google experience. And Apple just has a lot of dominance from the iPhone and pioneering some of these things. So it's interesting to see, but I think whoever can make it cheaper is important for having more just common users. And I think Apple is pretty famous for kind of jacking up their price instead of trying to make it more affordable. So it's just, I don't want to buy into that. I want to like have the people's product, which I believe Google is making a very streamlined cloud thing with Google Drive and Google Photos, and I can see that that's way better than what is coming out with Apple. So I've just been thinking about this a lot, but I'll get on to like my notes that I wanted to, basically talking about the launch, the VR upgrades. That's pretty cool. I mean, VR headset, it just uses the phone. That's smart. It's like, why have a whole other machine? It's really cool to just put your phone in the headset. I've been trying to get a Google Cardboard. I was never successful, but I'm looking forward to having either a cardboard or one of these, fancy headsets, because with the Chromecast thing, like being able to put, as far as like gaming goes, it's pretty interesting that when I was younger, we need like PlayStation, we need some console, but if we have an experience like a VR experience where you can play video games and it can be projected onto a screen for other people to see, it's the same type of like playing around video games like we did as a kid and as I've done as an adult, and it's fun. I mean, video games are a certain release, like for stress. I've seen like it's been several years now, but there was one point in Nepal where I had a gaming center. Like there was a place that kids could play FIFA and but mostly like when I finished my work, I would just kind of like relax by playing Grand Theft Auto, and it was just very it's fun for me because I hadn't played that for a long time, and I played video games when I was a kid, so it just helped me a lot, reduce my stress or just kind of distract me from whatever was going on, just kind of have some freedom or some escape from whatever was going on. And so because of that, I think that people can enjoy these type of video games in cafe settings in Asia. I mean, it seems like more cafes should be equipped to be having sort of gaming stations for people to be playing, because like in Nepal and India, men and boys, I mean, a lot of time they just hang out in tea shops all day playing cards anyway. So I think this type of mobile video gaming technology is cool, because I've wanted to do that testing of video game centers, but it's pretty hard to get like a PlayStation or an Xbox, whatever, with the games, and it's just way too complicated. So it's kind of this tablet-based and mobile-based VR headset stuff is something that I can integrate into my work in Nepal in a really cool way for education and just all sorts of applications for entertainment, education, and I just look forward to that time when, within the next couple of years, that stuff will be easy to get secondhand. And that's kind of what leads me to my other topic that I was thinking is about this, are you a nerd or are you a geek just because you want to be just because you like buy the latest gadget? But I think that's not true. I think that's more like that's what a hipster does. They buy the newest thing because it's cool or something like that. But what a geek or a nerd, like, they learn about that product. They learn about products they don't own, they probably know that they won't own, or products that they'll wait for a certain upgrade or a certain drop in prices because of some kind of trend. And I think that's what kind of techie type of person is, not just buying the latest thing. It's like knowing how to get the best and the most by waiting the perfect time to buy something used, or just when to upgrade exactly. And I think it's very strategic. So people that think that deeply into tech and know about software and hardware that they don't even own in detail, I think is the people that are really kind of either kind of experts, like trying to be, or they enjoy just researching. And so I'm not fully like that. I know about certain things like that I've been following, like drone technology, and I keep up with things as much as I can, because I don't see it as something, I could just buy it because I like it. It takes time. You have to, it has to be affordable, and it has to be also functional. It has to serve a purpose, so it takes time to develop how it can be used. So it's, I think, it's funny how people feel like, oh, I'm a professional photographer if they have like the best camera, or they think like, oh, I'm like such a nerd because I have like the best phone or computer or whatever. But it's all about how you use it, and using it to make things, develop things. Those are like the techie people. And whatever, I'm not trying to sound like just talking like I know about too much about tech or whatever, because I've been living away from Palo Alto for a long time. But yeah, since I was born there, I watched technology grow and spread in the world, and it's something that's really blown me away. Like start traveling before Wi-Fi, and you have to go to an internet cafe, and then just seeing that how quickly this total mobile saturation has really happened. It's amazing to think where it's going. And so yeah, it's pretty much one of the most exciting topics for me, as far as include like art, technology, nature, natural living and environmental issues. Those are really the most important things to me, and that's really the path of this daily live broadcast, is to talk about some of those things that I just think about and research every day. But so far I've kind of just been talking about my fundraiser I'm doing for building a training center in Nepal, and then B, I've just been talking about like a couple current events or just whatever is happening in the news, because that's what's on people's minds for sure, and I want to like the things I'm thinking about, so might as well address them. But after that type of testing I've been doing, really this sort of reaction and response to technology, to films, and to environmental subjects, those are what I really am the most excited about. That's what I want to share. So I think that it's going to grow more in that direction. But I do want to say about my fundraiser, if you check my profile picture, you can see there's a link, GoFundMe. We're trying to raise $15,000, and so far in 10 days we've raised over 1,200. So I encourage you to check that out. If you don't want to donate, come to Nepal, help build it, help teach there. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be everything happening 2017, 2018. So check it out, hit me up, and let's make it happen. All right, thanks for watching.